This is the 12th Street Pier. It's famous all over the North Coast. This is where people come in Garibaldi to crab. And then just west of the pier is where the climbing beds are. So for $7 a year, you can get 20 clams a day and 12 crab a day. So if you're into seafood, it's a good buy. One of the things you want to be real careful of when you're down on the bay bottom, there's just a lot of safety issues. The rocks are slippery, the sand will grab at your feet. The broken clamshells that are in the sand will cut you. So you just want to be careful about where you're putting your hands and your feet. It's just like life in general. Close to the pier down here, these rocks are all covered with mussels. So these are little Pacific blue mussels. They're delicious. Saute pan, a little butter and a little white wine, 5 minutes and that's dinner. They're covered with barnacles, which won't hurt you any. But you can collect up to 72 per 24-hour day with your shellfish license. And as you can see, they're pretty simple to harvest. There are 5 different varieties of bay clams, and all of them are legal to harvest in the bay. We have the cockles, which are small, round, that have ridges on them. There's the butter clams, which are bigger, kind of whitish, kind of oval-shaped and flat. There's the gapers, which are the great big ones with a big foot sticking out the side. And the little necks are basically just small gapers. They're sometimes called soft shells. Their shells haven't hardened yet. And then there's the bay clams, which are the small, dark blue ones. All of the varieties are here in these clam beds. The easiest to get, of course, are the cockles. You just have to rake for them. Anything that you dig up that's not a cockle, you have to keep, because the bay clams, butter clams, little necks, and gapers won't dig themselves back into the sand, so they'll die if you just throw them back in the water. The cockles will dig themselves back in the sand. So you can trade out cockles, bigger ones for smaller ones, or vice versa. But everything else you have to keep, because if you throw it back, it'll just die. At the top of the stairs here, there's a chart that tells you what all of the different clams are and what the limits for them are and how you can keep them. This is called a potato rake. It's got long, wide spaces between the tines, and this is the best thing for getting cockles. The trick is find an embedded rock, bury your rake, and then just shift your weight back. And then you want to lift up and shake everything off that's mud. And every once in a while you'll get ones that are too small to fit on the rake. Once you start collecting them, you want to put them in your bucket. You don't have to put water on them. And the trick with any bay clam, because a lot of what they ingest is dirt, they've got a lot of mud inside of them. When you've caught all the clams you want to clam, fill your bucket about halfway up with bay water, put the clams in it and let them sit for about 12 hours. And they'll cycle that salt water through themselves and clean all the sand out. You can shuck a clam just like an oyster. The cockles are really hard to get into with an oyster knife. So what I do, if they're about this size or smaller, you can just steam them like you would a regular clam. And you don't have to clean them before you can eat them either, because once you set them in the salt water, they flush themselves out so they're not gritty. And when they get any bigger than about this, you are going to want to clean them and open them up. I'll get a whole bucket full about this size, 20 of them. And I'll saute them with a little pancetta and fresh basil. They're absolutely delicious, and you can eat them right out of the shell like this. Clamming is a lot simpler than you think it is. It's simple, it's great for families to do. We're always putting on clinics. Some of them are even after dark, and those are the fun ones. Come out with a headlamp and look around for clams, that's a blast. But we're always putting on crabbing and clamming clinics, so contact us and we'll tell you when the next one's scheduled and you can come join me.